felt that nagging sensation, being ambitious but lazy?
Oh, definitely.
You've got these big dreams, huge goals, right? But then when it actually comes down to taking action, it just feels like hitting an invisible wall.
Yeah.
So what if everything we thought about laziness, well, what if it was actually wrong? What if you're not inherently lazy at all? What if something totally different is going on?
It's a really powerful idea, and the source we're diving into today, it really challenges that traditional view.
How so?
Well, it puts it pretty provocatively. You are not lazy, you're scared.
Scared. Okay.
Yeah, and it goes even further. It argues there's basically no such thing as a lazy person.
No such thing. Really?
Think about it. Babies aren't lazy. Animals aren't lazy.
Okay.
Though I guess sloths might be the exception there, the delightful exception.
Fair enough.
But the core idea is a person isn't inherently lazy. It's our choices, our actions that might look lazy from the outside.
That's a really profound distinction. So if it's not some built-in flaw, but maybe like a misdirection.
Yeah.
What does that mean for us?
Exactly.
Could it be that laziness isn't the right word at all? Maybe it's more like misalignment.
Misalignment, yes.
Yeah,
That's the core concept here.
Okay. So our mission for this deep dive then is to really unpack this new idea of laziness and hopefully give you some actual strategies to fight it based on this misalignment idea.
Precisely. And when we talk about misalignment, imagine this scenario. Let's say you genuinely have an ambition, like getting into law school.
Right. The goal.
Huge goal. But the actual thought of studying law, cracking open those, incredibly dense textbooks, it just fills you with dread.
Yeah, I can see that.
So what happens? You find yourself maybe spending hours and hours completely immersed in something else, maybe like the world of Elden Ring.
Okay. So you're doing something.
Exactly. You're clearly engaged, putting in effort, but it's not doing the things that you would hope for yourself to do, the things aligned with that law school ambition. That's the misalignment.
Oh, okay. And the crucial implication there. It isn't just about needing more willpower, is it? Or, beating yourself up.
No, not at all. That often backfires.
So it's about getting into alignment.
Yeah.
Which suggests, what? Two main paths.
Fundamentally, yes. We either need to change our ambitions to match what we actually want to do, or we need to change our desires so we start wanting to do the things that lead to our ambitions.
Okay. Let's unpack this. Where do we even start trying to shift those desires, especially when, old habits feel so locked in?
Well, a really powerful starting point is to get honest about where our desires even come from. And there's a great story that illustrates this perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
It's about a nightclub promoter. Let's call him Steve. And he was trying to sell these VIP tables at his club.
Right. The expensive ones.
Exactly, the $2,000 tables. And they were just sitting empty most nights. Which, isn't a great look for a supposedly happening club.
No, definitely not. An empty VIP section just screams, nobody wants to be here.
So what did Steve do? Did he drop the price?
That's what you'd think, right? But no, he did something really brilliant, almost counterintuitive.
Okay.
He didn't lower the price, didn't push them harder. Instead, he took these same empty tables, draped red velvet ropes around them, placed champagne bottles, ice buckets on them, and put up a big, prominent reserved sign.
Even though they weren't reserved.
Exactly. Completely fabricated scarcity and status. And the result.
What happened?
Within an hour, apparently, guys were lining up practically begging to buy one of those tables that nobody wanted just moments before.
Wow. That's fascinating. Such a simple move. But what does it really tell us about, what drives us? Beyond just wanting a table. It reveals something pretty fundamental, maybe even a little uncomfortable. We are incredibly, almost compulsively motivated to impress other people, to win their validation, their approval.
Right. Social status.
And here's the real kicker. Often, the things we chase to get that validation, they have no inherent value in themselves. They are, like the source says, kind of made up.
Like those suddenly desirable but actually still empty VIP tables.
Precisely.
So, bringing that back to you, the listener.
Yeah.
It raises a tough question, doesn't it? Whatever you're feeling lazy about right now, could that ambition actually be an empty VIP table? Are you genuinely driven to go to law school deep down? Or is it maybe more about proving something to your parents?
Or that six-pack you're aiming for. Is it truly for you, for your health, or is it more about getting a certain kind of attention?
It's an uncomfortable thing to confront, that ugly truth. But the point is, there are probably loads of other ways to get your parents' approval that don't involve years of misery studying something you secretly hate.
Absolutely. And you can definitely get attention without starving yourself or spending every waking hour at the gym.
So the core takeaway is, make sure your ambitions are actually your ambitions, your own. Don't just chase those empty VIP tables, because even if you manage to grab one,
You might get there and feel like you've actually lost something important along the way. That sense of self.
this sounds a lot like the philosopher René Girard, his metic theory of desire, right?
Exactly. Girard's idea was that fundamentally we don't desire things in a vacuum. We desire what other people around us desire. We mimic them.
And there's real psychology backing this up too, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like studies showing an out-of-shape person surrounded by healthier people.
Tends to become healthier themselves almost unconsciously. It's strange, but true.
It makes you think of that old saying, you are the average of the 5 people closest to you.
It's not just a cliche. It reflects how naturally we soak up the desires, the ambitions, the standards of our immediate environment.
And, okay, this mimetic tendency, it can be weaponized, right?
Yeah.
Like Steve with the VIP tables, making us chase trends or buy stuff we don't really need.
For sure, marketers use it all the time.
But it can also be used for good. We can leverage it to our advantage.
Absolutely. If you consciously, deliberately surround yourself with the kind of people you want to become, you'll find yourself naturally starting to seek their validation. And how do you do that? By doing the things they do, by valuing what they value.
Now, I know some people listening might push back on this. I shouldn't care what others think, or I have to be my own person.
Right, there's that strong cultural narrative about rugged individualism.
But what does this actually mean in practice? Can we really just switch off caring about validation?
Look, the reality is it's practically impossible not to seek validation. It seems to be wired into us as social creatures. You can't just flick a switch and turn it off.
So the key isn't to stop seeking validation altogether.
No. The insight is that you can choose whose validation you seek. You can aim to get it from better people and for better reasons.
Ah, okay. So you harness that fundamental human need for social approval, but you direct it.
Right.
You set things up so you get validated for doing the things you genuinely want to achieve anyway.
Exactly. And a really practical, powerful way to do that is by creating real stakes, setting up accountability systems with other people who share similar goals.
This makes me think of the anecdote from the source material about the speaker's own struggle writing their second book.
Oh, yeah, that's a great example.
They hit a massive wall, right? Horribly behind schedule, totally. So the pressure was so intense, they just started avoiding it.
Yeah, procrastinating. Waking up later, delaying writing, escaping into video games, actively running away from the very thing they were ambitious about.
Been there. So what was the solution?
The breakthrough came when they made a pact with a friend, Neural, I think, who was also struggling with his own book.
Okay, so shared struggle.
Right. They agreed to meet up every week, specifically to write together. They'd set clear, concrete goals for that week's session. And here's the crucial part. They held each other accountable.
How?
Their deal was simple but serious. If either one failed to meet their agreed-upon goal for the week, they owed the other person $1,000.
Wow. $1,000. That's some serious skin in the game.
Exactly. It perfectly illustrates that core insight. Laziness often just boils down to incentives.
Right.
If you can structure things so that the consequence of not doing the thing is way more embarrassing or painful or costly than just doing it even poorly,
You'll probably just do it.
you'll find yourself naturally acting. That fear of judgment, of embarrassment, of losing a grant kept them both showing up. It made this huge, daunting task feel manageable, almost easy by comparison.
Okay, so that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Leveraging social pressure, incentives, understanding mimetic desire. That's one path to alignment, changing desire. But what about the other side? Mastering our ambitions. You mentioned science has something surprising to say here.
Yeah, it's quite counterintuitive, actually. Because the scientific take seems to be, to really accomplish your big ambitions, you might need to, well, actually want less.
Want less. How does that work? Seems backward.
Well, think back to the psychologist Edwin Locke's work in 1968. He found that super ambitious, almost impossible-seeming goals, they often backfire.
Why?
Because goals only really motivate us, only sustain that drive when we genuinely believe they're attainable. The second a goal feels completely out of reach, like a fantasy, motivation just plummets.
Okay, that makes sense. So setting slightly less daunting goals can actually keep you going.
Precisely. And this connects beautifully to the story of Thomas Edison back in 1879.
Ah, the light bulb, right.
Picture him in his lab late at night, surrounded by piles of blackened, failed prototypes, just failure after failure.
Must have been incredibly discouraging.
Totally. His team was doubting him, whispering behind his back. Even Edison himself apparently had moments where inventing this practical electric light just seemed impossible.
So what did he do? Just push harder, more willpower?
Yeah. No. That's the crucial part. Instead of doubling down on the impossible dream, he paused. And then, probably to everyone's shock, he effectively lowered his ambitions.
Lowered them? How?
He gathered his team, he acknowledged the reality. Making a long-lasting bulb right now seemed unrealistic. So their new plan, it was going to be methodical. Simple.
Okay.
They would test one material at a time, focus only on learning exactly why it failed. Then try the next one. Each experiment wasn't about inventing the light bulb anymore. It was just a small challenge. Gain a little information.
So the expectation shifted entirely.
Instantly. They weren't carrying the weight of invent the light bulb today anymore. The goal became much smaller, much more manageable. Just test the next filament. Learn something.
And in that moment, Edison kind of stumbled onto a profound truth, didn't he?
Seems like it. When you scale a huge goal down to something that feels genuinely doable right now, something amazing happens.
What's that?
Slow momentum starts to build, and slowly, gradually, the impossible starts to feel, well, inevitable.
That's such a powerful lesson. Accumulate, 1,000 small wins.
Exactly. Instead of aiming for one giant leap, focus on consistently taking those small, achievable steps, day after day.
But, okay, here's the challenge I see with that. Lowering expectations. Focusing on tiny wins. That means you have to deal with a lot of failure along the way.
Absolutely.
Lots of repetition, maybe doing the same small thing over and over, maybe not even knowing if it's actually leading anything. That sounds tough to sustain.
It is tough, and this is precisely where finding a deep sense of mission or purpose becomes absolutely critical.
Okay. Connecting back to that alignment idea.
Yes, because if your goal, your ambition, is ultimately driven by something, well, frivolous, like pleasing demanding parents or impressing someone you have a crush on, or just keeping up with your peers, you're probably going to buckle when things inevitably get hard, when you hit those setbacks, those failures.
But if you have a higher
You wanna
Exactly.
know
The mission that
who is beginning of
beyond yourself,
love.
some belief, some
You look so high, but you can't see enough.
to endure the test.
Just find it and take it, don't let regret it. Make me your only one. You choose it, don't lose it, don't let confuse it. Only then you'll be God. Feel like that. Feel like, that.
than the ambition itself.
Like that, lay your arms around me and stay with me. Like that, lay your arms and stay with me, baby. Like that, lay your arms around me and stay with me. Like that, lay your arms and stay with me, baby.
So that one.
Throwing aside, I can't wait to start. You should call the police. Now I even can breathe. You love me and hate me, true me and false me, make me your shining star. Giving, receiving, changing, believing, only then we can start. Feel like that. Feel like, that.
You, listen now.
Like that, lay your arms around me and stay with me. Like that, lay your arms and stay with me, baby. Like that,
reflect on this. What useful failures are you ready to reflect on? Seeing them not as setbacks, but as essential data points guiding you